tracing wheel, tracing paper, pins, fabric, shears, a double and single dart pattern, as well as an iron and an ironing board. Lay a single dart pattern over your chosen fabric, and then lay the tracing paper between the fabric and paper pattern so that the colored side faces your fabric. Use a tracing wheel to mark the solid lines on the dart pattern and make an X through the small circles and the point of the triangle. Remove the tracing paper and the paper pattern and fold your fabric so that you can see the lines that you traced. Match up the lines you traced and the X markings. Press your fabric and get ready to sew. Start at the end of your fabric and sew at a regular stitch length towards the point, decreasing stitch length as you go. Once you approach the point, go one stitch over the edge of the fabric. Stop and tie a single hand knot. Threads and press. You have now made a single dart. You will need a tracing wheel, tracing paper, pins, fabric, shears, and both the double and single dart patterns, as well as an iron and an ironing board. Use a tracing wheel to mark the solid lines on the dart pattern and mark an X through the small circles, the same as you did for the single dart. Pin the same as you did for the single dart, matching up the X's. Press your fabric and get ready to sew. Between one X marking and the top of the triangle. Sew towards the top of the triangle at a regular stitch length. Pivot and continue to sew from there, decreasing the length towards the end of the triangle. When you pivot, make sure the needle is down, lift the presser foot up, and then turn the fabric, and continue to sew. When you get to the end, sew one stitch over, and then hand knot, the same as you did for the single dart. Make sure you set your stitch length back at a regular setting. Go back to the top of the triangle and sew over your first few stitches. Then sew towards the point you didn't sew towards yet, decreasing stitch length as you go. When you get to the end, sew one stitch over and tie a hand knot. After you have trimmed the threads, press. You have now made a double dart. You will need pins, a ruler, a tracing pencil or chalk, shears, and a 12 by 12 piece of scrap fabric. Starting from the top of your fabric on the far right side, mark every inch down to the bottom. Then mark the same way on the left side. Then connect corresponding 1-inch markings with a straight line. Do this all the way down. Pinch the sides on the first fold line and fold towards the second line. Pin in place on the sides. Then pinch the sides on the following line and fold up. Pin the sides. Continue this process going all the way up your fabric. Before you start to sew, make sure you press your fabric. Sew a base stitch 1/4 inch from the top of the pleat. After you have finished sewing, press your fabric one more time. And you have now created a pleat.